Thank you all for sharing this Thursday evening with us to celebrate this joyous occasion. This is our first virtual and live ASU penning, School of Education penning ceremony. So please rise at this time and just welcome in and shout and yell for the state of Georgia's newest class of teachers, ASU certified teachers. Okay, we have a program printed and we will follow the program as outlined, starting with our welcome from our candidate, Tatiana Brooks.
Good afternoon, family, friends, professors, and fellow classmates. I am Tatiana Brooks, a graduating senior in ECE. Welcome to the Professional Embracing Novice ceremony, or the penning ceremony. I know that everyone is excited and proud of themselves, as this has been a long journey for all of us. I can only speak for myself, but when COVID sent my students home while I was a paraprofessional, I could only think, oh my God, what will this mean for my clinical experience? Overall, I know that everyone has struggled with their own issues and learned more about their major than they would expect. Today, I want everyone to put a smile on and give yourself a round of applause, because through all of the chaos in this world today, you still achieved your goal. All right, an inspirational message. Strive to achieve your goals even when the odds are against you. Tatiana Brooks, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Alicia Jackson. I am the Dean of the College of Business, Education, and Professional Studies. I am so excited to be here with you today, and I must say, it has been a strange and long year, but these guys did it. They went through some things, I'm sure, when they were thinking about their student teaching experience. It didn't look anything like it ended up being. Is that true? You ended up starting in classes in the spring, and then they sent you home. You came back, you had to decide, is it my day to be in the classroom, or is it my day to be at home on camera? And still, you did it. You persevered. You got through all of that chaos, calamity, that lets you know how flexible you can be. It also lets you know how flexible your professors and the faculty in your schools have had to become, because they weren't ready for any of this either. So I want you to give a special thanks to your faculty, both here, guys, but most importantly, to you for persevering. You're going to need that same kind of flexibility when you get in the classroom, because every student in your class is going to be different. We'll have to have different challenges resolved. But you know now you've got it in you, because you've gotten through this year. We are so proud of you. We are so glad to be here to honor you. And I just want everybody here to give them one more round of applause for making it through this year. Thank you all for coming, helping us to celebrate our wonderful new set of educators. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shakira Williams, and I will be reading a poem strictly for us future teachers. This poem is by Carrie Hill. Poem for a future teacher. I hope you found your way past those that told you no. Remembered what you learned and how far we need to go. I hope you filled your classroom with books you can be proud of, that go beyond what is expected and show each and every child love. I hope you respect their languages, even when it's hard. Remember, it's our job to build them up, not tear them apart. I hope your classroom's loving, a place where children long to be, where they aren't afraid to fail, where they aren't afraid to speak. Thank you. I have also been asked to introduce our speaker. His name is Dr. Jamal Rashard Kennedy. He was born and raised in Albany, Georgia. He went to Albany State University, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts and degree in Political Science in 2010, Masters of Art in Public Policy Administration in 2012. Shortly after, he attended Nova Southeastern University, where he earned an educational specialist degree in curriculum and instructional management administration in 2013. He earned his doctorate of education degree in curriculum and instruction from Columbus State University. He has taught grades 4, 5, and 6, teaching reading, language arts, and social studies. He currently serves as an instructional leader here in Albany, Georgia, where he plays a very active role in the educational community. He also serves several years of experience teaching at the collegiate level. He is currently an adjunct professor for both Albany State University's Department of History and Political Science and Liberty's University's School of Education. He is also a member of the oldest and the coldest fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. He enjoys critical research in the field of education, looking for ways to help students grow academically and assist practitioners in finding ways to implement strategic plans to combat literacy gaps among students around the world. His passion steering his students in the right direction exceeds far beyond anything else he has ever done. He lives by the quote of faith without work is dead. It is also a strong belief of his to be the change he wants to see in his community. One of his favorite scriptures is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, Philippians 4:13. Thank you.
Before I get started, I would like to thank you for that amazing introduction of myself. I will say that it is truly an honor to be standing before you today, especially being a two-time graduate of the Albany State University. So I guess I'll go ahead and get started with the reason why I'm here today. And I'm going to speak to the measure of I fulfill the calling, but the passion has kept me over the years. So, good evening. If you will allow me, I want to grab your attention for a brief moment. And I'm speaking to the educators. I chose the field of education because I knew it was a calling that was placed on my life. I have survived through some of the toughest times in my career because my passion is what kept me. Before I move into the core of my words today, I want to begin with the following quotes by a pioneer educator, the great Marva Collins. And the first quote is, "Don't try to fix the students, fix yourselves first." The good teacher makes the poor student good and the good student superior. When our students fail, we as teachers too have failed. And the last quote by Marva Collins, "You can pay people to teach, but you can't pay them to care." And if you don't remember anything else, as you move into the classroom, remember that students will care about you just as much as you care about them. which leads me to an inspiring poem that I often share with new teachers that are leaving college and entering into this illustrious field of education. And it is entitled, Future Teacher. Future teacher, when I'm done with school, I am turning right back around to teach and inspire others, just like my teachers have inspired me. I will love each and every student. I will listen to their problems, give them praise for the good they've done, congratulate them for awards they've won, and have faith in each and every one. I'll be the teacher everyone loves, who smiles to everyone and passes out hugs, and encourage all my students to excel above and beyond. I'll still be a student myself, learning lessons about life with every day that passes by. Now, I guess I should move on to the true reason why I'm standing here today, and that is to encourage each of you. Good evening again, my fellow counselors, psychologists, doctors, police officers, and lawyers. Oh, I'm so sorry. Excuse me? Am I addressing the wrong crowd? Absolutely not. Now, you are teachers, but the careers that I've just mentioned are duties that you will assume as soon as you enter that classroom. As a teacher, you wear many hats. Yes, we are that counselor and psychologist to that problem child that will never be absent from your class. Sometimes even a police officer to a child who have faced challenges in a battered home. Did you also know that you will be a travel agent, booking field trips and transportation for the year? Yep, we're even a bank holder, holding the deposits for field trips, pictures, and fundraisers. Oh, and did I forget? We're in a pandemic. You're now IT specialists, social emotional counselors, and the list goes on as we teach through a pandemic and various formats of instructional delivery, such as fully online, hybrid, and face-to-face. Our recent shifts in the paradigm in regard to education have forced all teachers to rethink their lives. I've definitely rethought mine. With all of that in mind, isn't it funny that doctors get paid several grand, but we who most tend to the sickest of children and teach them when they are not willing to learn? Now, you're probably wondering, am I complaining about what all a teacher must do? Absolutely not. But what I will say, that if you're not entering the field because you want to make, if you're entering the field because you want to make millions of dollars, then you may want to keep searching. We enter this field, this illustrious field of education, because we have been called to this teaching ministry. Remember, as I stated earlier, that when all else fails, your passion will keep you. Well, I pulled out all of the hats that I could think of, and I'm sure there are many more, but that doesn't mean that it stops there. Let's see, what about a chef's hat? As teachers, we sometimes assist students that come to our school buildings lacking the necessary nutrition at home. You see, it's difficult to teach a child that's hungry. But enough about the hats, because I really could continue on and on about almost every career that we as educators, and notice I said we because you're now educators, impact in the world around us. If I could travel back in time, I remember as a 6-year-old playing school on my grandmother's back porch. You see, when I graduated from college, when I entered college, that was not the time in which I decided that I wanted to be an educator. I knew at the age of 6 that I would work in education in some form or fashion. When I entered Albany State University in 2006, the first thought that came to mind is that I wanted to go to law school. All freshman year, I fought the thought of going into the field of education. But each and every time I fought it, I was always directed back to my true calling, and that's to educate God's children. I can remember the influential teachers along my educational journey that held me to the standard that failure is not an option. And if I could name a few from here at Albany State University, I can think of educators like Dr. Davenport. I can think of educators like Dr. Sharon Neota Tucker, who's no longer here. However, I can think of those educators that held us to the standard that failure is not an option. Teachers that refused to give up on me. When I think of all that we have to do and the roles that we play as educators, I'm often reminded of these influential experiences that I just mentioned that truly keep me going and, most of all, growing. I realize that God gave teachers a heart of compassion, of encouragement, and patience. Because I will tell you that over the last 10 years working in the public schools, my patience have been tested. So as you move into the classroom, keep that in mind. Teachers are someone who will accept the challenge regardless of the oppositions that they face. And why, you may ask? Because we realize that the career we have chosen is one that requires us to sometimes reach goals that may seem unattainable, and oftentimes without having the adequate tools to meet the impossible task. You see, teachers must think outside of the box in order to meet the needs of the children and the demands of our 21st century learners. And I heard our speaker earlier mention about reaching every individual learner. Not only that, we must be able to diagnose 15 to 30 children from day one of school and take them where they should go. Can you imagine trying to diagnose 30 different individual learners? And even if you move into your departmentalized grades and middle grades, and those of you that are going to secondary and upper elementary grades, you're looking at 90 or more. I have had students in my classes over the last 10 or 11 years that were so academically underdeveloped that I can remember times sitting in my car crying tears, trying to figure out different strategies that I could put in place to reach each and every child. You see, that's what you call true passion. But each time I hit rock bottom, I was reminded of my why. And with perseverance and dedication, as I mentioned earlier, I was able to experience monumental growth with my students over the years. See, I remember a mentor of mine always telling me that, Kennedy, if you teach it, they will learn it. When I was first told that, I didn't really understand it. But over time, it makes more and more sense. And you know, of course, we have textbooks that you've experienced in college. We have textbooks that will be in the classrooms to tell us different methods and strategies to use with students. But those textbooks are just concrete. They will not prepare us for what we will actually see, because we understand that no student will learn the same. Each child is unique, bringing his own personality and set of issues for us to nurture. I'm sure by now you all probably can feel my passion for educating tomorrow's leaders. But if you don't remember anything else, remember that if the passion is there, it will keep you grounded through some of the toughest times. Teachers are role models, especially for our young children. What we do and what we say each day in the classroom will have a lasting impact on at least one child. And I always tell teachers that are coming to the profession, if I can reach one child, I've done my job. If I can reach many more, I really have it going on. How do I know? While writing this speech a few days ago, I received a phone call from a former student letting me know that she had been accepted into 10 colleges and universities, with 2 offers being full academic scholarships. See, I knew back then when she was sitting in my 4th grade classroom, I saw this 10 years ago. This student is one that I taught many, many years ago, but can you imagine the pride that I felt receiving that phone call and being invited to her graduation this year? Now, as we don't know what it will look like, but just the thought of her calling me for thinking of me 10 years later was everything. And it also took me back to my passion as an educator, and it reminded me of my why. Before I conclude this evening, I would like to leave you, our future educators, who will be entering into such an illustrious and rewarding career sooner than you think, because there is a teacher shortage, with what I call a few points of survival. Point number 1, and all of these points are points that I've gained over the years from mentors. Stop to listen to somebody along the way, especially those that have traveled the road you're seeking to head down. Always listen with the intent of understanding, not with the intent of replying. Above all, stay passionate and remember your why. Remember why you chose the field of education and the students that are waiting on you to impact their lives. Become and remain a lifelong learner. I'm going to say that again. Become and remain a lifelong learner, because education will change every 24 hours, I promise you. Stay consistent with your goals and believe that anything is possible. Because if you had asked me 10 years ago, would I be standing in this spot? Would I be an educator? Would I be 32 years of age with a doctorate in education? I probably would have told you no. So stay consistent with your goals. Persevere even on the days you feel like throwing in the towel. And believe me, there will be many of those. Those are the days in which you fight the hardest. And lastly, point number 6 of survival. Build lasting and positive relationships with your students and your colleagues. And while I'm mentioning this last point, I want to share a most recent story with a College of Ed grad that just graduated in May, that I had the pleasure of being the student teacher for. I will share with you this moment that the confirmation of building positive relationships is important. My student teacher from last school year, and I won't mention her name, was nearing the end of her student teaching time, and it was time for her to begin one of the most important things that she will ever do in her life, and that is the job search. Now, I knew she was going to a job fair, but I had no idea how it would turn out. But what I could tell her is that you would leave with a job. She encountered many interviews, and I remember one morning I was sitting at my desk preparing for the school day, as I always do, around 7 a.m., and my phone rang, and it was my frat brother calling me. Now, of course, it's 7 a.m., so I'm probably like, I'm frantic because I'm like, why is he calling me at 7 a.m.? It's not like him. To my surprise, he was calling me to ask me about my student teacher. He's a principal in Valdosta City Schools, He's also, as I mentioned, my frat brother, but he's also a part of my Alpha chapter. He called me and he said, I have such and such here, or I've interviewed her. How is she? My words were short and sweet. She's a good one. She's teachable. She's going to do great things. And his words to me were, I'm going to take your word because the decision is on me. Think about those positive relationships that you want to build. And without hesitation, he gave her a chance. And currently, she's teaching third grade in Valdosta City Schools. And as I understand it, she's doing extremely well. Final words, as I'm truly closing now. I want each of you to also remember the 5 W's of life. Always remember who you are, because who you are is what makes you special. Do not change for anyone. What lies ahead, we don't know, will always be a mystery. Don't be afraid to explore. When life pushes you over, you push back harder. Where there are choices to make the one that you won't regret. While things happen, will never be certain. Take it in stride and move forward. I challenge each of you to pledge to do your best, and most importantly, to do what is right for children who are our future. Let every decision you make be a decision with the children in mind. One day, you too may receive that phone call or visit from a former student inviting you to his or her graduation. And as I close, stay focused, be blessed, and remember your why. And I want to say this boldly. You are important, you are needed, you are capable, and you've been called to do great things. Thank you.
The Early Childhood Education Program of Study at Albany State University prepares candidates to teach all academic content areas to young children, grades pre-kindergarten through 5th grade. Each graduate will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Early Childhood Education, as well as the State of Georgia Induction Level Certificate in Early Childhood Education. Will all the Early Childhood Education candidates please stand, come to my left on the stage. Will those individuals who will pen the candidate please come to the right of my stage. The early childhood candidate with the highest GPA is Anna Ledesma. She's early childhood education, and she did her student teaching at Pearson Elementary School in Pearson, Georgia. Her principal is Mr. Jared Morris. Her cooperating teacher was Mrs. Jenna Musgrove. Her university supervisor is Linda Perry Simpson. She will be pinned by Jose de Labra, her fiance.
Next, we have Tatiana Brooks in Early Childhood Education. Her school assigned was G.O. Bailey Elementary School in Tifton, Georgia. Her principal was Jamie Dawson. Her cooperating teacher was Ms. Holly White and Ms. Margaret Reed. Her university supervisor was Mr. Morris Arrington. Tatiana Brooks will be pinned by Shantoria Walls, her university supervisor. Next, we have Adriana Caldwell in early childhood education. Her school assigned was International Studies Elementary Charter School in Albany, Georgia. Her principal was Dr. Johnson I. Davis. Cooperating teacher, Ms. Angela Daniel. University supervisor, Ms. Medlock. Adriana Caldwell is penned by Yolanda Thomas, her mother. Next is Acacia Graham in early childhood education. Her school assigned was Turner Elementary School in Albany, Georgia. Her principal was Mr. Grace. Her cooperating teacher was Miss Willis. Her university supervisor is Dr. Medlock. Acacia Graham is penned by Caronda Alexander, her mother. Next is Chakala Hicks, majoring in early childhood education. Her school assigned is Alice Coachman Elementary in Albany, Georgia. Her principal was Dr. Mathis. Cooperating teacher, Ms. Harrison. University supervisor, Dr. Tony. Takila is penned by Angel Parland. Next is Relisha Hill, majoring in early childhood education. Her school assigned is Hand in Hand Primary School in Thomasville, Georgia. Her principal was D. Gaines. Cooperating teacher, Ms. Beverly Ponder. Her university supervisor was Carolyn Medlock. Relisha Hill is penned by Mr. James Jones, her uncle. Next is Miss Cynthia L. Newkirk, majoring in early childhood education. Her school assigned was Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School in Albany, Georgia. Her principal was Ms. Barbara Harvey. Cooperating teacher, Ms. Mary Elizabeth Conley. University supervisor, Dr. Tiffany Pong. Cynthia Newkirk is penned by Regina Tinsley, instructional coach at MLK Elementary. Next is Jasmine Quarterman, majoring in early childhood education. Her school assigned is Live Oak Elementary at Albany, Georgia. Principal is Shanika Williams. Cooperating teacher is Carlene Angry. University supervisor Anthony Owusu Ansah. Jasmine is penned by Jennifer Higginbottom, her mother. Next is Ms. Jasmine Rambo, degree in early childhood education. Her school assigned was West Bainbridge Elementary at Bainbridge, Georgia. Principal is Ms. Ortega Ross. Cooperating teacher, Ms. Christy Ward. University supervisor, Dr. Anthony Owusu Ansah. Jasmine Rambo is penned by Jabori Rambo, her spouse. Our next candidate is Ashley Thomas, degree in early childhood education. Her school assigned is Mitchell County Elementary School at Camilla, Georgia. Principal is Stephanie Gagnon. Cooperating teacher is Erica Jones. University supervisor, Dr. Medlock. Ashley Thomas is penned by Sandra Thomas, her mother. Our next candidate is Shakira Williams, majoring in early childhood education. Her school assigned is Alice Coachman Elementary School at Albany, Georgia. Her principal is Dr. Anita Mathis, cooperating teacher, Dr. Richard Kennedy, university supervisor, Dr. Tony. Shakira Williams is penned by Angela Crawford Williams, her mother. Our next candidate is Aquila Williams, degree in early childhood education. Her school assigned is North Mitchell County Elementary at Baconton, Georgia. Her principal is Dr. Gagnon. Cooperating teacher, Ms. Tanja Goss. University supervisor, Dr. Medlick. Shakila Williams is penned by Joanne Edwards, her mother. Thank you.
Your mom has your card. Okay. Please give all the early childhood education educators a round of applause.
The Middle Grades Program of Study at Albany State University prepares candidates to teach two of the following academic content areas: English, mathematics, science, or social studies, 4th through 8th grade. Each graduate will receive the Bachelor of Science degree in middle grades education, as well as the State of Georgia Induction Level Certificate in middle grades education. Will all middle grades education candidates please stand? come to the left of my left of the stage? Will those individuals who will pin the candidate please stand, come to my right of the stage? The candidate who has earned the highest GPA in middle grades education is Mr. Tyler Ward. Tyler completed his school assignment at Lamar Reese Magnet School of the Arts. His principal was Dr. Angela Shoemate. His cooperating teacher was Mrs. Felicia Hardwick. His university supervisor was Dr. Carolyn Metlock. He will be pinned by Mrs. Felicia Hardwick, his cooperating teacher. Where did he go? So Tyler is going to be pinned, as I said, by Ms. Hardwick, his cooperating teacher. Tyler will read the name of the remaining middle grades education candidate.
Jamarcus Perryman, a middle grades education major with concentrations in math and science. He did his student teaching at Randolph County Middle School in Cuthbert, Georgia, whose principal was Elizabeth Needham, and his cooperating teacher was Marlon Gilbert. His university supervisor was Dr. Carolyn Medlock, and Jamarcus is being pinned by his advisor, Dr. Medlin, I'm sorry. Almost. Thank you.
Please give all of the middle grades education majors a round of applause. The secondary education program of study at Albany State University prepares candidates to teach in the following areas: English, science education, special education, or health and physical education. English education majors will be certified to teach grades 6 through 12th. Special education and health and physical education will be certified to teach grades K through 12th grade. Each graduate will receive the Bachelor of Science degree in secondary education as well as the State of Georgia induction level certificate. Will the secondary education candidate, concentration in science education, please come to my left of the stage? Will the individual who will pin the candidate please come to my right of the stage? Mr. Jonathan Dyson has a degree in secondary science education. His school assignment was Westover High School here in Albany, Georgia. His principal was William Chun. His cooperating teacher was Mr. Corey Moore, and his university supervisor was Dr. Doreen Metlin. He will be pinned by Dr. Metlin, his university supervisor. Please give the secondary education educator a round of applause.
The Music Education Program of Study at Albany State University prepares candidates to teach music to young children, grades pre-kindergarten through 12th grade. Each graduate will receive the Bachelor of Science degree in music education, as well as the State of Georgia Induction Level Certificate in Music Education. Will the music education candidates please stand, come to the left of the stage, and will the individuals who will pin the candidates please come to my right of the stage. The candidate that has the highest GPA in the music education is Miss Robin Ware. Robin Ware had her school assignment at Monroe Comprehensive High School in Albany, Georgia, where her principal was Dr. Frederick Polite. Her cooperating teacher was Jason High. University supervisors, Dr. Jillian Baxter. Miss Ware will be pinned by Tracy Davis, which is her professor. Ms. Ware will present our remaining music education candidate.
The next candidate is Joshua Hall. Major is music education. He was assigned to Robert Cross, located in Albany, Georgia. The principal of that school was Dr. Chun. His cooperating teacher was Mr. Bronson. His university supervisor is Dr. Julian Baxter, and Joshua Hall will be pinned by Valerie Ware.
Please give our music education candidates a round of applause.
I'm here to give a reflection speech. And I'll start by saying good afternoon, family. And yes, I do mean family, as I've grown to know and love you all as I do my own. So if you've ever heard me refer to any of my professors as auntie or uncle, then now you know why. I know we're here to celebrate graduates today, but it'd be really hard for me to give a reflection speech without highlighting the education department and the positive impact they have had on me throughout this journey. So if you saw me around campus prior to beginning my journey here with the education department, and you asked me the question, why do you want to be an educator? My answer would probably have been something like, well, my mom, my grandma, a few aunties and uncles were educators, so I figured why not follow in the family footsteps, and as an added bonus, they'll be there for that extra nudge in case I ever get stuck or need a little extra help with an assignment. But then I met Auntie Dr. Pogue. Her EDUC foundation courses made me want to be the educator that builds relationships with my students and understands and caters to their cultural backgrounds and experiences so that each of them have the opportunity to see themselves in the curriculum. If you ask me the question after Auntie Dr. Medlin's science block, I would add to that and say that I also want to create lessons that are fun and engaging and show my students how they can use science and education in general to change the world around them. And then there's my work dad, Dr. Khadi. Dr. Khadi's math block taught me that as an educator, I'm going to make sure that not a day goes by where I don't step foot in my classroom and remind my students that I both look and feel like $1,000,000. And nothing they do or say is going to make me feel or think otherwise. No, seriously, aside from a few fashion tips, Dr. Khadi taught me that I want to make sure my students understand the why in mathematics and show them how they can apply it to their everyday lives. Next is Dr. DeQueer, my work mom, who taught me that I want to be an educator who creates well-structured lessons that cater to the developmental needs of my students. And how could I forget Auntie Dr. Medlock, who taught me to make myself marketable as an educator and always stay on my toes. Because if I ever step out of line or she ever catches me slipping, she's going to let me know whether I want her to or not. Last but not least, my cooperating teacher, Mrs. Hardwick, who I've grown to know and love like family in just a short amount of time that I've known her. Despite virtual learning and CDC guidelines amidst the pandemic, my student teaching experience with you is one I wouldn't trade for the world. And I will continuously strive to one day be as great a math teacher as you are. So with that being said, I can honestly say the boy who first stepped foot on this campus 3.5 years ago would be astonished at the man standing before you today. So to the Department of Professional Studies, particularly the education part, on behalf of my peers, thank you. Thank you for seeing something in us that we never saw in ourselves. Thank you for pushing us out of our comfort zones, and thank you for all your efforts in propelling us towards this very moment. Although I have a feeling that this is only one of the many milestones we will achieve moving forward, I look forward to your continued mentorships in hopes that I am able to have a positive influence on many lives the way you have all positively influenced mine. So without further ado, one last time, in the words of the great Dr. Khadi, motivation is not an act of spontaneous combustion. You've got to set yourselves on fire. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I was asked to give a reflection about a few days ago from Dr. Medlock, and she told me not to mention that she asked me, but here I am mentioning it. Honestly, I had no idea what to write about because my journey to getting here is probably not the typical. While growing up, I was told by numerous people, like family members, church members, that I should be a teacher. Everywhere I went, they were like, you know what, you should be an educator. You would be a really good one. I'm just like, kind of want to be a scientist, but okay. So I continued to go about what I thought I wanted to do. Started college as a chemistry major, and that lasted for all of 2 months. I was falling asleep in class, I was uninterested, and I was like, you know what, maybe I do need to reevaluate everything. So I did, and I ended up taking a chance and switching to music education. And it was honestly the best decision I ever made. While in the major, I did not know what to do, but I continued to strive and push, and nevertheless, I ended up learning everything that I felt like I needed to. During my practicum classes, I had opportunities to observe students in the classroom. I've had opportunities to meet and make connections with a lot of band directors in the area, and a lot of music teachers in the area. I also had the chance to meet fellow alumni, ASU band directors, and they gave me opportunities to teach during band camps in Atlanta, like actual paid gigs. So while being a music education major, I just had plenty of opportunities to do so many things that I wouldn't have been able to do as a chemistry major. So that's why my journey is like a little bit different, because this isn't something that I came into college intending to do, but coming out of college, I'm so glad that I did. I'm glad I got a chance to meet the professors that I did, my lovely music professors over there. They've also been a great influence to my life. I also had the best of both worlds, being a part of the music department as well as the education department, because I had basically two sets of families, well, two different families. While
While leaving the department, I can say that I have just had a wonderful experience that I hope every future educator gets to experience. I want to say congratulations to everybody that got pinned today, and that's it. Thank you.
Well, good evening. I got so caught up, I didn't realize it was my time. Thank you so much. Students, I'm so proud of you. I don't know what in the world to do. I'm just happy. Why y'all didn't pin me? Don't I deserve a half of a pin? Okay, let me get my things out. Dr. Kennedy, while I am pulling my certificates out, I want you to know that how much we appreciate you for, you had a lengthy notice. Would you do a speech with us? And you rose to the occasion. And I want to say thank you so much. I'm still kind of a little bit upset with you because you did teach my grandson, and you convinced him that he wanted to be a alpha, but he has a Kappa daddy, and that still not going well in the household. But nevertheless, thank you so much for rising to the occasion. Great job. Okay, I'm here to present our highest GPA for each area and also campus. Our highest secondary education student is Jonathan Dyson. He was really in competition with himself. And our highest So you're going to do the photography, Mr.? He just ran off the stage, didn't he? I know it. Okay. Our highest early childhood student, candidate is, for main campus, is Miss Shakira Williams. And our highest early childhood education student for Cairo is Tatiana Brooks. This might want to hold on for just a second. And our highest overall GPA is Tatiana Brooks. Thanks, Michaela. All right, and for middle grade education, our highest is Mr. Tyler Ward. You're welcome, nephew. You might want to just hold on just a second. And the highest overall is Mr. Tyler's Ward. All right. and Anna Ledesma. Did I do it? Oh, girl, I'm good, just good. And highest overall, I think this is Waycross or K-Roll? Waycross? Okay, we're here. We'll get you straight, no problem. We got one right, one wrong. Okay, hold it. And just a second. And the highest overall for Waycross is Miss Anna Ledesma. We'll get you straight, Anna. Ooh. Dr. Queer, when I get my mask, I'm going to move out your way. Congratulations to each of you again.
The Kappa Delta Pi International Honor Society in Education was founded upon the principles of educational excellence. Education is a vital societal force that encourages universal welfare and individual progress. Education is the cornerstone of our democracy and the foundation for personal fulfillment. Honor societies conduct rituals and ceremonies to impress upon their members the ideals and duties to which they adhere. Members of Kappa Delta Pi have cherished the society's ideals and accepted the concepts of duty established when the organization was founded. As faculty advisor of the Albany State University chapter of Kappa Delta Pi, I am excited to present honor cords to all graduating members. Will the graduating members of the Kappa Delta Pi International Honor Society in Education please stand and join me here on stage in the center. Our first graduating member is Mr. Tyler Ward. Tyler serves as president of Kappa Delta Pi and led our chapter to become an official student organization here on campus. He is a middle grades education major, and his favorite quote comes from Dr. Kadee: "Motivation is not an act of spontaneous combustion. You've got to set yourself on fire." After graduation, Tyler plans to begin a career as a middle grades educator, and later attain a doctorate in math education. He submitted that he would obtain a master's degree, but I upgraded that to a doctorate on your behalf. You have earned your honor cords, please. Our next graduating member is Ms. Shakira Williams. Shakira is an early childhood education major whose future plans include a master's degree in early childhood education. Her favorite quote is, "Be the change you wish to see in the world," by Mahatma Gandhi. She serves as secretary of KDP and has the honor of serving on 2 student organization e-boards, both Teach and KDP. She plans to teach here in Dougherty County and eventually hopes to teach overseas. Ms. Shakira Williams, you have earned your honor cords. Please give a round of applause to all the graduating members of Kappa Delta Pi International Honor Society in Education.
Good evening again, and let's give the program committee and all of you all one final round of applause. So I'm here to give closing remarks, and I just want to thank you all for coming. I would like to acknowledge all the faculty, so all of ASU faculty and staff, please stand, and let's give them a hand, one final hand. Your hard work, you can see now what your hard work means to everybody, okay? Let's let the graduates stand one final time. Congratulations. Thank you. And then the guests, the penners, those who have promised to embrace these young people in their field of education. Let's let the penners stand. Thank you. I would want to thank Dr. Kennedy for giving us those wonderful words of encouragement. You had some very insightful thoughts, and our students, I hope they listened and will take heed to all of the advice that you gave. Thank you for coming, and we're very proud of you being around, and we want you to come back and do something else at a later date, so we'll be in touch. I want to just ask all of our students, stand up if you already have your job in line. Stand up. Hey, that's our congratulations. And we are so proud of you, and we know that everybody will get hired before January, right? That's our goal, for everybody to get hired. I want to tell you, this is kind of like your graduation, so when you become alumni, don't forget about us. Come back, donate, give money, do all of that fun stuff. Homecoming will come back some kind of way. So just stay in touch with us. We're only an email away. If you need us in your classroom, Auntie Dr. DeQueer and Auntie Dr. Metlin and Dad Dr. Khadid, Auntie Dr. Pogue, Dr. Jenkins, Dr. Tony, Dr. Stafford, all of us will come and support you. We visit the classrooms all the time. So don't ever feel alone, and don't ever feel like you really left, because we'll be here with you always. And I want to, did I omit everybody? I got our leadership here. We have our dean, and we're happy to have her. And we have a lot of people in virtual world, and we're thankful for them. And that will be it. And so congratulations, and thank you for being a teacher.